Nicole Scotty from Mobile Geeks, and here I am at the ASUS headquarters in Taipei, and I have in my hot little hands the ASUS Zenfone 5. So this is the new 5-inch smartphone from ASUS, and it's a little different than most other devices because it's running an Intel processor. So this is a Z2580 at 2.0 gigahertz. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put it up against the other flagship devices on the market that are also in the 5-inch range. So over here we have the Samsung Galaxy S4 5-inch 1080p display, and it has the options for the two processors. Here we've got the Snapdragon 800 1080p display, 5 inches. I mean, like all of these, they're kind of the same, right? 4.7 1080p display, 5.2 1080p display. But one thing that you're going to notice is height-wise, even though these are all basically 5 inches, the ASUS is a lot longer. Now this has to do with actually the Intel processor. I found that pretty much every device that's running an Intel, every mobile phone that's running an Intel processor on the inside is going to be just a little bit longer. But even though it adds the height, it doesn't mean that it's adding the weight. So if you take a look at all of these phones and take a look at the weight on them, they're not all that different. I mean, 10 grams is, I guess, kind of noticeable in difference, but it's not a huge difference. But between 130 and 145, that's actually the biggest weight difference between them all. And so if you guys have ever had hands-on with any of these, you should kind of know that, well, it doesn't feel that much heavier. One of the interesting things about kind of like longer, larger smartphones is that it displaces the center of gravity a little bit. I actually thought that this was lighter than the S4, strictly because the S4 is a little more compact, so the center of weight's heavier. This has been widely discussed with the iPad and the Nexus 7. So this is a very, very common, I guess, discussion online. But you know, it's always interesting when you're talking about a smartphone that's, you know, obviously a little bit longer than the S4. You might think that the weight is significantly larger. When we're taking a look at the height, the Zenfone is here in the middle. It is 10.34 millimeters high, which is a little bit thicker than the other phones that are currently on the market. But still, it is a lot longer. So that was just a really quick look to kind of give you an idea of how size-wise the Zenfone 5 stacks up against the current competition on the market. But one thing that I do want to point out is if you are familiar with ASUS products, they've really been known for a really clean vanilla UI. That's actually changed with this lineup, and that's for the very first time. So they're actually launching the Zen UI, and it is very different. So if we kind of turn it off, then turn it back on, you can see that the UI has greatly changed. We have our calendar up here, we have options for telephone, lots of camera, and then SMS. We pull it up, and then they have a very different kind of UI style. So you can actually switch back over. I thought that this was quite different, actually. So if you pull down twice, it actually changes it. It's really interesting. So they've kind of got, it's quick, right? That's the thing about the Intel processor, is that it's not really going to be winning any benchmark battles. It's along the same lines as a Snapdragon 400 processor from Qualcomm. But they've kind of kept the same back and forth. At least it's not like the HTC Sense UI, which I can't stand it personally. When you pull it down, you know, it's interesting, right? This is actually a little more. Let's pull that up. This is actually a little more in line with what Apple's doing, but I do like that they have included something like this. This is really the first time that ASUS is kind of making an effort to make a UI. I'm not 100% sold on it. One of the things that I did love about them was the vanilla experience, but this is their custom kind of a home screen here where you can kind of quickly see what's going on, and then if you customize your, I don't know if this is working. Let's go into email. There we go. Oh, it's not set up, right? So you actually have to set it up, and then you can actually do VIP so that your more important contacts will come up in here first. So it kind of helps you to organize it a little bit more. I'm going to wait until I'm able to actually take this home and spend some time with it before I have a real judgment on it. But yeah, I mean, it is sexy, it's fast. I mean, yeah, it's everything that you kind of want from a mid-range phone with a nice camera. So yeah, this has just been a quick look at the Zenfone 5 up against a lot of the other top 5-inch smartphones in the market. I'm your host, Nicole Scott, for Mobile Geeks.